So changed colour again here to move on to a different chapter of the GDPR, and that's the chapter that we find in Articles 15 to 22, which details the rights of the data subject. So this is one of the new developments, I think, in the GDPR, this focus on the fact that people should have greater control over their personal data. And where data is processed on the basis of consent, people do have a very high degree of control over what happens with that personal data. Like I said before, they retain the right to withdraw. The right to withdraw is quite stringent in that it needs to be just as easy to withdraw. There's also a new right under the Act, which is the right to data portability, which means that the person has to be provided with data regarding him or her in a structured, commonly used and machine-readable format, and they need to be able to transfer it to other data controllers without hindrance. If we go back to Article 89.2, this was the article that bites when you rely on the research exemption under Article 9 of the GDPR. And this is the place where the GDPR provides for derogations from the rights in the regulation, if those rights those derogations are provided for by way of a national legislative act. Now, in the UK, we have provided in the Data Protection Bill for derogation from all of the rights that we are able to under Article 89.2. So where data is processed on the basis of the research exemption, in UK law, all of the rights, the right to access, all of the rights which we're allowed to, the right of access, the right to rectification, the right to restriction, the right to object, will all be restricted under those derogations. There are further specific provisions relating to the rights, and the right to erasure can be derogated from under the article itself, under Article 17, where that processing could hinder the purposes of scientific research. So national regulation is not needed in order to derogate from the right to erasure. That ability to derogate in the context of scientific research is actually provided for in the article itself. So again, we see that where we rely on the research exemption, the Act is an enabler again, rather than an inhibitor. So it's trying to marry up or it's trying to balance the data subject's rights, but also the ability for scientific research, which is in the public interest, to go ahead in a way that maximizes the potential of that research.